Antoran High Command is the first boss that throws different things into the mix in Antorus, really opening up a few different choices to capitalise upon with the Enhancement toolkit to really optimise the way that you play. First, your tier 30 talents is kind of a lock-in for Windrush if you really want to play for your raid, but Feral Lunge can kind of get some use out of it if you want to be a bit more selfish. Being able to transition yourself and your entire group over to the new boss when it spawns is great, which leans itself very well to Windrush, but if you don't really need it and the rest of the raid is already positioned properly, then Feral Lunge is going to get you over there straight away, ready to deal as much damage as you need to do. Second, defense and movement on this boss is a lot more contextual as usual with the early bosses because there's not as many high points that really need it. Astral Shift is good if too many mines are triggered in a brief period that should not be to keep yourself stable, but otherwise it's more of an emergency measure as the fight provides inbuilt defenses with the shields during the high raid damage Fusillade casts. Movement is again something that shouldn't be as necessary as the raid reorients itself around the fight to different areas as each boss spawns, meaning that you'll always have Spirit Walk available in emergencies, in particular when you have a stun grenade applied to you and you need to run out and make sure that you're not going to hit any other melee. Other than that, the last simple point is to make sure that if you're going to go into a pod, you should really have Astral Shift available so that you can have that ticking healing as you enter it to smooth out the healing, making it a bit more stable as you enter. Third, and probably most importantly for most people, is your DPS optimization, which really is a bit more nuanced in High Command versus the other bosses that we've looked at so far. Firstly, your legendary options. Cephos works really good here with Earth Grab on the reinforcements that can trigger on cooldown and is great in particular if you hold cooldowns to burst down ad waves with it. This means that it's also going to line up very well with Earthen Spike and Doomwinds, which really provides a big burst of damage, especially onto the target boss, which is really what you're there for. Charge Core also works really well since the lion's share of the fight involves 3 targets to activate it, so you can keep it up a lot of the time. But if you're not really comfortable with the more optimized and nuanced things, Eye of the Twisted Nether is still a perfectly acceptable and consistent choice, so it comes down to your preference and how comfortable you are. In terms of raw gameplay, Crash Lightning should be used without question as often as possible with ads up, and when you see the health of the last Crash bot dipping low, which is the last target that you can really activate it off alongside the boss, refresh it for a little bit of additional bonus damage. The fight is effectively similar to Mistress from Tomb. You want to funnel as much cleave damage into single target and kill the boss as possible, and that'll make sure that you have a free kill on your hands. That covers High Command, and up next is Portal Keeper and the start of the more mechanically interesting bosses, and I hope this helps and I'll see you there, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the video.